Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥 Sharma.
Good evening aspirants, welcome to the Hindu News Analysis discussion brought to you by ForumIAS for the date 6th of July 2023. Today we will be covering 5 topics and these are the list of 5 topics for today's discussion. We will be covering topics from areas of international relations, governance, science and technology and a topic from economics. Alongside this we will also be covering 2 previous year prelims questions at the end of the discussion. So straight away, now let us move to our first article of the day. First topic, Iran's induction in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The news is that Iran joins the SCO as its 9th member, and recently in virtual summit of SCO that was chaired by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister stressed that the formation of a more representative and multipolar world order is in the global interest. So in this context, let us know more about SCO. If we take the origin of SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization was formed in the year 2001. It had its origins in Shanghai 5 that was established in 1996 itself. Shanghai 5 includes China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia and Tajikistan as members. They had emerged from a series of border demarcation and demilitarization talks which the 4 former Soviet republics held with China to ensure stability along the borders. In the year 2001, Uzbekistan also joined and the group was renamed as Shanghai Cooperation Organization. As of now, if we take the members of SCO, there are 9 members after the inclusion of Iran. So the members are India, China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. India and Pakistan had joined in the year 2017 and now Iran had also joined as full-time member. Then there are countries like Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran and Mongolia who previously had the status of observers, but now Afghanistan, Belarus and Mongolia alone have the status of observers. In addition, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cambodia, Egypt, Sri Lanka, Turkey are few dialogue partners. Another fact is that members of the SCO accounts for nearly 40% of world's population and 30% of GDP. If we take the structure, the SCO has political, economic and security dimensions. The organization has 2 permanent bodies, the Secretariat in the Beijing, China and another organization named Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure in Tashkent, that is in Uzbekistan. Know that the Heads of State Council is the highest decision-making body in the SCO. This Heads of State Council meets once every year to take decisions and give instructions on all important issues regarding SCO activity. Note that the Head of Government Council meets once a year to discuss a strategy for multilateral cooperation and priority directions within the organization's framework. This HGC also solves important and pressing cooperation issues in economic and other areas, as well as to adopt the organization's annual budget. There are also mechanisms of meeting on the levels of secretaries of security councils, foreign ministers meet, ministers of defense, emergency relief, economy, etc. Note that Russian and Chinese are the official and working languages of SCO. Meanwhile, India is pursuing and pushing for the use of English as working language. Now let us see what is the significance of SCO. First is the connectivity and trade factor. Given the massive size of SCO, there is considerable potential in trade and connectivity across the region. Then the SCO members have among them are major gas and oil suppliers in the region. For instance, if we take Russia, Kazakhstan, they are major gas and oil suppliers, and also SCO houses largest consumers of oil and gas. For example, China and India. According to that, SCO nations are also the largest wheat producers, which includes India. Another important fact to note here is that the Samarkand Declaration signed in the year 2022 centralizes connectivity as well as energy and food security, which is the priority for India. Then second factor is related to security. SEO has a key security dimensions as well, with security related concerns having a center stage. The main threats which are focus of the SEO includes terrorism, separatism and extremism. Also, it has been reported that SEO had foiled 600 terror plots and extradited 500 terrorists through the RATS structure. In addition to that, under the RATS, that is the Regional Anti-Terrorism Structure, it has been proposed to create unified register of terrorist and extremist organizations whose activities will be prohibited on the territories of SEO members. Here we must know SEO members also hold a joint anti-terror exercises frequently. Over the past few years, the organization's activities have expanded to include increased military cooperation and intelligence sharing. But what are the challenges within SEO? First is the internal struggles. Bilateral relationships of many SEO members are strained. Recent clashes on Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan borders have led to deaths of more than 100 people. Here, Kyrgyzstan also has a border dispute with Uzbekistan, although it is closer to resolution. The relationship of India and China is also at the historical low due to border dispute and increasing Chinese presence in India's neighborhood. Here, although Russia and China seem to be united against the West, Russia is wary of growing Chinese presence in the Central Asian region. As Russia considers Central Asia as its own backyard, Russia still retains the military lead in the region through the Collective Security Treaty Organization. But China might soon displace Russia as security provider subsequent to the greater economic integration with the region. So this is one concern for Russia. Then the second challenge is related to connectivity. See, the connectivity has remained poor, especially between India and the other SEO members. Pakistan has blocked all efforts to enhance connectivity with India, but China has benefited the most as all Central Asian nations have joined the Belt and Road Initiative. The third challenge is related to terrorism. See, India has long held Pakistan as a state sponsor of terrorism. The presence of Pakistan, which was under grey list of FATF, severely limited the ability of SEO to cooperate on the counter-terrorism front. The role of China is also dubious because they have repeatedly blocked the resolution of India to blacklist Pakistan-based terrorists. But what is the importance of SEO to India? First is the relationship with Central Asia. The SEO provides a platform to India to strengthen its relationship with Central Asian nations. The region is rich in energy and mineral resources which are critical to India's economic growth. And many minerals are vital for new materials which will support transition to clean energy technologies. Second importance is the relationship with Russia. See, India continues to have high dependence on Russia for its energy and defense needs. Here, India sees Russia as a balance to China. And Russia, wary of Chinese presence in Central Asia, wants to support India to keep check on China. The third importance is the regional security and stability. India sees partnership with SEO nations as a crucial factor in regional stability. For instance, India held NSA level meetings with SEO members such as Russia, Kazakhstan, Iran and Turkmenistan for regional security dialogue on Afghanistan. Apart from that, it is expected that Central Asian nations will support India in counter-terrorism despite limited response from China and Pakistan. And now coming to the connectivity subtopic, since Iran joins SEO, Iran's presence will ensure that India avoids any land-based trade through Pakistan, which has blocked transit trade for India to connect with Central Asian countries. So see, these are few important areas which satisfies the needs of India. And from this topic, we also dealt with SEO in a comprehensive manner along with the significance of SEO and the challenges that are surrounding the organization. So with this, let us close this news article here and move to the next topic. Second topic, Cabinet gives nod to Data Protection Bill. The news article reports that the Union Cabinet cleared the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill recently, and the bill is set to be tabled in the Parliament for discussion and approval. So in this context, let us discuss about the draft bill. See, the government had released the draft of proposed Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022 for public comments long back. Know that the bill has undergone multiple iterations. In that, the first draft, the Personal Data Protection Bill 2018, was proposed by the Justice Sri Krishna Committee. This committee was set up by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology with the mandate of setting out a data protection law for India. After that, the government revised this draft and introduced the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2019 in the Lok Sabha. That bill was referred to a joint parliamentary committee. Then the JPC report was accompanied by a new draft bill, namely the Data Protection Bill 2021, that incorporated the recommendations of JPC. But however, the bill was withdrawn in the month of August last year. Now the government has planned to reintroduce the new Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. First of all, let us see why India needs Personal Data Protection Bill. See, India needs a proper data protection policy because India, with over 820 million internet users, soon to touch around 1.2 billion, has become the world's largest connected democracy with the largest presence on the global internet. And secondly, China has heavily censored the internet. Okay, on the other hand, the internet in India is open, accessible and interconnected to the global digital network, just like the Western democracies. Thirdly, with India assuming the presidency of G20 and also Council chairmanship of the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, it is natural for India to take a leadership role in shaping the future of technology. Now let us see the positive aspects of the Digital Data Protection Bill. First feature is related to Data Protection Board of India. The board would be empowered to direct data fiduciaries to adopt urgent measures to respond to personal data breaches. See here, data fiduciaries are those who determine the purpose and means of processing personal data. For example, it could be social media platforms who process personal data. And now coming back to the Data Protection Board of India, they will have the same rank as civil court and its decisions will be appealable to the High Court. The other feature is the simplified notice and consent requirements. The DPDP bill contains significantly less onerous notice requirements, but however, the bill requires data fiduciaries to obtain consent from data principals prior to the processing of their personal data. Data principals are individuals to whom the personal data relates to. For example, social media users can be called as data principals. See, as said before, the consent is sought through an itemized notice containing a description of the personal data being collected and the purpose of processing. Note that the request for consent must be in clear and in plain language and should be available in all 22 languages listed in the 8th schedule of Indian Constitution. Then the third factor is the introduction of deemed consent. The DPDP bill has introduced the concept of deemed consent. This intends to enable processing of personal data without explicit consent where it is reasonably expected that the data principal would provide such personal data. Other conditions under deemed consent includes purposes related to employment, public interest such as debt recovery and prevention of fraud. This also simplifies the consent requirement. Then the fourth feature is the right of data principals. The DPDP bill continues to grant data principals rights in relation to their personal data such as right of correction, right of erasure and right to be forgotten. Also, the bill provides the right to nominate any other individual to exercise the rights of the data principal in the event of their death or incapacity. Then another feature is the clarity on consent managers. The bill clarifies that consent managers will be interoperable platforms registered with the board. These platforms will enable individuals to manage, review and withdraw consent provided across data fiduciaries and platforms. Sixthly, it clarifies the duties of data principals. See, the DPDP bill also imposes certain duties on data principals, including the duty to comply with the provisions of all applicable laws. and a duty to furnish only such informations which are authentic. Then the bill retains the concept of a significant data fiduciaries and allows the government to notify an significant data fiduciary based on the volume and sensitivity of the personal data processed by it. Then the government can also take into account the risk of harm to data principles, potential national impact, and the impact on public order while notifying a data fiduciary as significant data fiduciaries. But what are the concerns associated with this bill? First is related to right of data portability. See, it should have allowed the data principal to receive their personal data in a structured format, and so this would have allowed them to choose between different platforms and enhanced competition between data fiduciaries to increase consumer welfare. This would have also eliminated the need to provide all their personal data again while switching to new platforms. But such a right of data portability is not addressed here. Second concern is the right foregone. It is the right to be forgotten. It would have allowed the data principal to ask the data fiduciary to stop the continuing disclosure of their personal data. The bill 2022 subsumes this right under the right to erasure. This conflation between the general right to erasure with the right to be forgotten, which is specific to disclosure of personal data, compromises on the right to freedom of speech and expression of other individuals. Then it is the bill focused more on personal data and excludes non-personal data, which was a demand by the industry and civil society. So that is why narrow focus is said to be one of the concern. And then it eliminates the categorization of personal data into sensitive and critical also. Other concern is related to government control. The regulator now, that is the Data Protection Board, will have limited role in terms of enforcements and penalties. The other aspect of implementing the law are left entirely up to the union government and not to the specialized regulator. While the Data Protection Authority was earlier envisaged to be statutory authority under the 2019 bill, 2020 bill says Data Protection Board will be set up by a union government and it will be only an executive board. And moreover, the government will have a say in the composition of board, terms of service, etc. The final concern is about the data localization. The draft law does not require local storage of data. Unlike previous version, it does not ask businesses to store certain sensitive and critical data exclusively in India or to mirror a copy of such a data on Indian service. But at the same time, it does not allow free flow of data across borders either. Businesses can only transfer data to countries that are notified by the Government of India. So in short, we can say whitelisting of region is not clear. So these are 5 concerns which we have discussed now, and we have also discussed the feature of the bill. So from this topic, we saw about the DPDP bill in a comprehensive manner and also regarding the needs for such a data protection policy. With this, let us close this news article here. Third topic, Chandrayaan 3 integrated with launch vehicle LVM-3. The news is that the Indian Space Research Organization, which is planning to launch the Chandrayaan 3 moon mission in July, integrated the spacecraft with the launch vehicle Mark 3. So from this topic, let us discuss about the Chandrayaan 3 moon mission in detail. See, Chandrayaan 3 is a follow-up of Chandrayaan 2 mission. So we will know about Chandrayaan 2 in brief. Chandrayaan 2 is India's second unmanned lunar mission. Know that it is the first Indian expedition to attempt a soft landing on moon with indigenous technology. The main aim of the Chandrayaan 2 mission was to conduct a detailed study of moon for a better understanding of its origin and evolution. It also sought to soft land on the lunar south pole at a latitude of 70 degrees south. However, the landing probe Vikram deviated from its trajectory and it crashed, causing mission failure. So in order to complete that void, which was left by the Chandrayaan 2 mission, Chandrayaan 3 was planned and set to be launched. Now coming back to Chandrayaan 3, the mission has 3 main objectives, which are to include demonstrating a safe and soft landing on the lunar surface, then demonstrating the rover's roving capability on the moon, then performing in situ scientific observations. The mission will be launched by the Mk3 from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, and know that the Chandrayaan 3 has three major modules. They are propulsion module, lander payload, and then rover payload. In the propulsion module, it will carry the lander and rover configuration till 100 kilometers of lunar orbit. Also know that the propulsion module has spectropolarimeter of habitable planet Earth payload to study the, that is shape payload to study the spectral and polarimeter measurements of Earth from the lunar orbit. Then the lander payload will have Chandra's surface thermophysical experiment, that is the CHAST, to measure the thermal conductivity and temperature. Then the payload also houses instrument for lunar seismic activity, which is the ILSA, for measuring the seismicity around the landing site. Then there will be a LP probe, which is the Langmuir probe, to estimate the plasma density and its variations. Then a passive laser retroreflector array from NASA is also accommodated for lunar laser ranging studies. Now coming to the rover payload, it has alpha particle X-ray spectrometer, which is the APXS, and laser induced breakdown spectroscope for deriving the elemental composition in the vicinity of landing site. So these are the three modules which will be carried by the Chandrayaan 3 moon mission. If we take the importance for India, firstly Chandrayaan has put India on a map as a major player in space exploration, showcasing the country's scientific and technological capabilities. Then these missions have helped India gain valuable knowledge and experience in space exploration, which can be applied to other fields such as satellite technology and space tourism. Also know that the discovery of water on the moon by Chandrayaan 1 has opened up new possibilities for space exploration, resource utilization, including the potential for future lunar colonies and space mining. Finally, the mission also inspired young generations to pursue careers in STEM field, thereby contributing to the country's overall development. So that is all about this news article. So from this news article, we saw about Chandrayaan 3 mission, and in short, we also saw about the Chandrayaan 2 mission. So with this, let us close this article here and move to the next topic. Fourth topic, a global rupee may raise volatility. The news reports that officials of RBI have cautioned that internationalization of rupee may result in increased volatility in the rupee's exchange rate in the initial stages. The officials also spoke regarding the Triffin dilemma, saying that internationalization of rupee will have monetary implications as India will be obligated to supply its currency in order to meet the global demand, and that will come in conflict with its domestic monetary policy. So that is the issue that is going on now. So in this context, let us see what is this internationalization of rupee. See, internationalization of rupee is a process that involves increasing the use of local currency in cross-border transaction. It involves promoting the rupee for import and export trade, and then even in the other current account transaction and capital account transactions. Now let us see what are the advantages of the internationalization of rupee. Firstly, the use of rupee in cross-border transactions mitigates currency risk for Indian businesses. This protection from currency volatility not only reduces the cost of doing businesses, but it also enables better growth of business, improving the chances for Indian business to grow globally. Secondly, it reduces the need for holding foreign exchange reserves. While reserves help manage exchange rate volatility and project external stability, they impose a cost on the economy. Thirdly, internationalization of rupee helps in reducing dependence on foreign currency, making India less vulnerable to external shocks. For example, during the phases of monetary tightening in the US and strengthening of dollar, excessive foreign currency liabilities of domestic businesses result in a de facto domestic tightening. So, reduced exposure to currency risk would substantially mitigate the pain of reversal of capital flows. Fourthly, as the use of rupee becomes significant, the bargaining power of Indian businesses would improve, adding weight to Indian economy and enhancing India's global stature. But what are the risks associated with the internationalization of rupee? See, India is a capital deficient country and needs foreign capital to fund its growth. If a substantial portion of its trade is in rupee, non-residents would hold rupee balances in India, which would be used to acquire Indian assets. Large holding of such financial assets could heighten vulnerability to external shocks, and so managing that would require more effective policy tools. Secondly, a reduced role for convertible currencies in external transactions could lead to reduced reserve accretion. At the same time, however, the need for reserve would also reduce to the extent the trade deficit in funding in rupees. Thirdly, non-resident holdings of rupees could increase the external stimulus to domestic financial markets, thereby increasing volatility. For instance, a global risk-off phase could lead non-residents to convert their rupee holding and move out of India. But here, there are certain steps that were already taken for internationalization of rupee. Let us see that. First is by enabling external commercial borrowings in rupee. That is, the especially masala bonds were already undertaken. Then the July 2022 scheme of RBI permitting rupee settlement of external trade creates a more comprehensive framework, including the flexibility of investing surplus rupees in Indian bond markets. Finally, the Asian Clearing Union is also exploring a scheme of using domestic currencies for settlements. So an arrangement bilateral or among trading blocs which offers importers of each currency the choice to pay in domestic currency is likely to be favored by all countries, and therefore it is worth exploring. So that is all about this news article. So from this topic we saw about internationalization of rupees, the advantages of it as well as the risks associated with it. So with this, let us move to the next article now. Fifth and the final topic, an inclusive social policy for migrants. See, according to a recent estimate from Kerala Planning Board Report 2021, Kerala is an employment hub for nearly 34 lakh interstate migrant workers. Here know that higher wages, regularity of work and better social and cultural conditions compared to many other states are the key drivers influencing workers to flow towards Kerala. And considering the migrant inflow, Kerala government has implemented range of welfare, health and literacy schemes for migrant workers. So these policy initiatives sustain Kerala as a migrant friendly state. Yet there are various shortcomings to address the problems of migrant population which are listed by the authors here. To substantiate their views, the author takes preliminary observation of SERB study to reveal that the benefits entitled to the migrants through welfare policies do not reach a majority of migrant workers. This article talks about various problems faced by the governance machinery in providing welfare measures to the migrants of Kerala. First is that there is absence of a disaggregated assessment of the work and life situations of the migrant labor population. Secondly, there is increase in number of strikes held by the migrant population. Strikes by migrant laborers over the past 3 decades in Kerala point to the need for inclusive policy making. Hence, it is crucial that policy makers addresses the core rights issue raised by Uravur strike, which aimed at securing better wages. Then in Athirampuzha strike that held in this year, migrant laborers demanded equal pay for equal work, which should have raised concerns for the policy makers. In addition to wage-related issues, these workers are faced with unhygienic living and working condition and lack of social security. Thirdly, physical abuse as well as verbal and symbolic violences are frequently reported too. See, these issues are not specific to migrants who work in Kerala alone. Most of these issues are similar to issues that are faced by the working class migrants all over the country. Such issues only demands the need for protection of the rights and dignity of the workers. As a way forward, the article proposes certain recommendations. Firstly, a shift from the usual numeric data collection approach to thematic method to develop a panchayat-wise functional data bank of migrant workers. Secondly, it is necessary to ensure that government's decisions regarding health, employment, social situation of migrant workers are firmly grounded in the rights-based principles. Thirdly, mechanisms must be established in collaboration with origin state of laborers to enhance their access to justice. You can call this as a need for model of cooperative federalism between states to address the migrant issues. Fourth, there must be promotion of awareness among migrants about their rights and the available legal remedies. Fifth measure is to set up initiatives similar to global effort to promote cultural exchange, community engagement, mutual understanding, to implement inclusive policies for social integration of migrant workers into the local community. Sixth and the final suggestion is that there has to be multi-stakeholder policy and monitoring dialogues for ensuring migrant workers' rights and welfare. So, these are certain suggestions which are listed by the author through this article. So, with this, let us wind up our news articles discussion and move to the previous year prelims questions. Now, coming to the previous year prelims question, consider the first question. In India, extended producer responsibility was introduced as an important feature in which of the following? The options given are option A, the Biomedical Waste Management and Handling Rules 1998, option B, the Recycled Plastic Manufacturing and Usage Rules 1999, option C, the E-Waste Management and Handling Rules 2011, option D, the Food Safety and Standard Regulation of 2011. The answer for this question is option C, the E-Waste Rules 2011. This is direct fact-based question. See, the extended producer responsibility is one of the main feature of E-Waste Management and Handling Rules of 2011. Know that according to this rule, the producer of electrical and electronic equipment has the responsibility of managing such equipments after its end of life. Thus, the producer is responsible for their products once the consumers discards them. So, by this way, the government has taken steps to prevent environmental pollution. Second question, consider the following statements. This question was asked in the year 2022. Kindly have a note of it. First one, the Constitution of India classifies the ministers into 4 ranks, that is Cabinet Ministers, Minister of State with independent charge, Minister of State and Deputy Minister. The second statement says the total number of ministers in the union government including the Prime Minister shall not exceed 15% of total number of members in Lok Sabha. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The options given are option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, option D, neither 1 nor 2. If we consider the first statement, see Article 74 of the Constitution provides that there shall be Council of Ministers with Prime Minister who shall be aiding and advising the President, and by that way the President acts in accordance with such advice given by the Council of Ministers. However, the classification within the Council of Ministers has nowhere been mentioned in the Constitution. Hence, this statement is wrong, and the classification of Central Council of Ministers into 3-tier body, that is the Cabinet Ministers, Minister of State with independent charge and Minister of State and Deputy Ministers are all British parliamentary conventions. So the Constitution has not mentioned anything about the classification of Council of Ministers. Considering the second statement, this statement says that the total number of ministers shall not exceed 15% of total number of members in Lok Sabha. This is correct. See, as per the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003, the Constitution introduced an Article 75 1 of A. According to this article, it states that the Union Council of Ministers cannot exceed more than 15% of the number of MPs in the Lok Sabha. So the answer for this question is option B, 2 only. So with this, we have come to the end of the news articles discussion. If you can understand the concept well, and if you like the method of teaching, please like, share and comment, as well as subscribe to ForumIAS for further updates. Thank you for listening.